the echo of a hollow foundation. Hello to the silence. I am writing this while the world is still and my twin stars, the children, are finally asleep. They're breathing, the only rhythmic thing left in my life. I am weeping into my pillow because the walls of my sanctuary have finally crumbled. He is gone. He didn't just leave the house, he migrated to another shore, to someone else, and I, in my desperate hope, thought this was merely a stormy season that would pass if I just held on tight enough. Our union lasted 4 cycles, 4 years, that started not with a shared vision, but with an accidental harvest. It was the classic tale, a moment of carelessness led to a life-altering seed. At the time I was terrified. I felt the shadow of time looming over me, and he seemed like a solid rock in a shifting sea. I told myself it was destiny. I gave him 2 sons, a double blessing that came through an agonizing, hellish pregnancy. Back then we both glowed. Even the elder peaks, his parents, carried us on their shoulders, celebrating the new life. But then the reality of the isolated valley set in. I entered the long, repetitive winter of child care. Determined not to let my mind wither or our treasury empty, I sought new paths through digital forests, taking on remote work. I thought I was being a heroine, a bridge builder, balancing the weight of the hearth, the cleaning, the twins, and the professional world on my tired shoulders. I was a workhorse masquerading as a queen. While I was drowning in the tides of sleepless nights and endless chores, he was drifting away. The home fire began to chill. At first he was just delayed by the mist, then came the gatherings of the guild, and eventually there was only a vast, freezing silence. I was building a fortress, but I was building it alone. He wasn't looking for a partner to share the burden of the soil. He was looking for a horizon without shadows. Now the mask has fallen, and I am left in a house that is no longer a home, realizing that a foundation built on a mistake cannot support the weight of a real storm. When the fire dies out, only ash remains, but it is from this very ash that a new land is born. The heroine realized that her island had not sunk, it had simply been freed from dead weight. She stopped being exhausted workhorse and began to construct her own citadel. Her remote work became her financial sword, and her twin stars were no longer a burden, but a vital part of her new, resilient landscape. She is no longer waiting for ships that will never dock. She has become the ocean itself. This betrayal is not the end of the world map, but its expansion. It is a growth crisis of the soul. We often mistake accidental connections for destiny just to avoid the responsibility of our own inner void. The collapse of such a marriage is a painful but necessary purification. It is the moment when the illusory paradise vanishes so that a person can finally stand on the solid ground of their own truth. The suffocation of silence. I became a stranger to myself, a bitter, weathered shadow that did nothing but echo with exhaustion and pleas for a hand to hold. As I withered, he retreated. I began to guard the borders of our life with a desperate jealousy, watching every other horizon for a threat. We didn't fight over grand betrayals, we fought over the debris of daily life, an unwashed cup, a missing loaf of bread. Yet I clung to the hope that if we just endured, if we just weathered the frost, spring would eventually return. But he didn't want to wait for spring. He found a new shore where endurance was required. He saw a landscape where there is no sound of crying children in the background of a call, no scars of birth upon the earth, and no endless chorus of "I am so tired." He chose a version of reality that was untouched by the weight of sacrifice, something polished, something easier. Today the air left the room. He packed his belongings, claiming he was suffocating within these walls. He said the flame of love had gone out long ago, and he could no longer bear the burden of staying. He promised to send supplies back to the small seeds we planted together, even whispering of taking them away one day, a promise that feels as hollow as the wind. Then the gate slammed shut. Now I am left here with 2 tiny souls who smell of milk and beginnings, while I feel like an ending. There is a void within me the size of an entire lifetime. I look at my reflection and wonder, will I ever be a destination for anyone again? In the years spent tending to the hearth, I lost my connection to the other islands. My friends have drifted so far they are no longer visible on my map. I have no one to talk to, no compass to guide me. I am just a storm of tears, drowning in the silence of a house that was supposed to be a fortress, but turned out to be a cage. Dear you, sitting on the floor in the dark, I am writing this from 5 cycles ahead. I am the woman you are about to become. Right now, the silence of the house feels like a heavy weight, and the echo of that closing door feels like the final sentence of your life. But I need you to know that door didn't lock you in, it locked a ghost out. The twins, those small stars of yours, are no longer just scents of milk and chaos. They have grown into young witnesses of your strength. They watched you rise when the world thought you were defeated, and because of you, they will grow into men who understand the true value of a soul. The void you feel right now, it wasn't an empty hole, it was a cleared space. You spent so long filling every corner of your life with his needs, his moods, and his comfort, that there was no room for you. In the coming years, you will fill that space with things you forgot you loved. You will find your voice in the digital forests again, not as a workhorse, but as a creator. You will find New Island's friends who don't care about your stretch marks but adore the way your eyes light up when you speak your truth. You wonder if you will ever be needed again. The answer is you will be wanted, not because you provide a service, but because your light is irreplaceable. You will look back at this night and realize that the suffocation he felt was just his inability to breathe the rare, mountain air of a real woman's life. Dry your tears, not because the pain isn't real, but because it is fueling your transformation. You are no longer a wife of duty. You are the architect of your own horizon, with love and fierce pride.